Hello folks, and welcome to the weekend warm-up with him and me from our restaurant balcony here in Abu Dhabi, because it is late in the evening and we have breaking news which has pretty much undone everything that we filmed earlier this evening in the paddock. Isn't that true?
Oh well, what can we do, hey? Thanks very much, Lewis.
Yeah, thanks Lewis. Unbelievable, but yet very believable, and great news that he is feeling fit, he is feeling well, more to the point that he has passed a negative COVID test both in Bahrain, having come out of isolation, and on arriving here in Abu Dhabi. So he will be allowed not only in the paddock, but in the car, and to compete and to contest this weekend.
Yes, so he's done it all in time so that he can start Friday practice, which is tomorrow, in the Mercedes. It also means that George Russell will go back to Williams, and unfortunately it means that Jack Aitken won't be able to race this weekend.
I feel desperately sorry for Jack. He did the whole day of media. George did the whole day of media as well, not knowing where they would or if they would be driving for their teams. So yeah, real shame for them. But we're back to where we were, and Lewis gets a chance to finish off his season with a win.
You could tell when the result was out that he wanted to come back,
yeah.
And he's been pushing as hard as he can to be back. So it's not a great deal of surprise that an athlete of his ability has managed to find a way to beat the virus.
Well, this is exactly it. We hope that he is fully, back to feeling good, because it can absolutely knock you over, this thing, regardless of whether you're testing positive or negative. It really can. So we hope that he is feeling good, feeling fit, feeling healthy, back in that car. And that is best, because everyone wants to see a Lewis Hamilton that's at his best out on track.
And it is great. It is great news, because you never want someone to be out on the sidelines.
No.
It's nice that he's managed to get the negative test. Hopefully he is feeling better. I'm looking forward to hearing from him tomorrow when he's at the track, and then it kind of changes the look of this weekend.
It does indeed, and it also changes the relevance and sort of the impact of half the things that we said during this week's weekend warm-up.
But still watch it though.
Which is still coming your way now, because there's an awful lot of stuff that is relevant and is kind of useful that doesn't involve Lewis or George or Jack.
In fact, it's a massive weekend, isn't it, for Formula 1? And
it's huge, yeah.
You'll find out soon.
Exactly. In fact, coming to you right now. Welcome to the weekend warm-up from the paddock here in Yas Marina with him and me. Been a long year, isn't it?
It has been a very long year, but I'm so excited because we've made it to the end.
Do you know what I'm excited about?
What's that?
You losing your hair on Saturday night. In case you don't know, Lawrence got himself into a bit of a sticky situation. All for charity, though. Do you want to explain it?
For Prostate Cancer UK, I will be shaving my head. I kind of said I would, for some money, and didn't realise that we would hit that total
very quickly.
Will Buxton pushed us over the total. Thanks, Will.
Happy to help.
Very keen to see me with an ET-shaped head, as you will see on Saturday. And we've smashed the target, and we're up to over £3,000. So thank you very much to everyone who donated.
People can still donate, can't they?
They can. Just give them on my Instagram and social channels. So yes, if anyone else would love to donate, it's a great charity, so would really appreciate it. And Will's going to be here to make sure it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we've got that nice plug done, haven't we? Brilliant stuff. Let's start talking about the racing weekend. One more weekend left of the season, and there's actually so much that either is happening, could happen throughout this weekend, that is worthy of discussion and debate. Number of drivers leaving the sport after this weekend, a number of drivers leaving their teams after this weekend, and a number of drivers with massive uncertainty over their futures. Some drivers with uncertainty over their weekend. And Jack Aitken's one of them.
Yes, so saw Jack earlier in the pen today and talking to media, and I feel bad for him because he doesn't really know whether he's going to be in the car or not. So he's fulfilling the media duties. He's doing what he's told to do in the team, and he's preparing for the weekend as if he's going to be in the car. But as yet, he doesn't know whether this time tomorrow in FP1 he's going to have to be driving, or if George is going to get slung back if Lewis Hamilton makes it back to Mercedes.
This is it. According to the protocols, as we understand it, the earliest Lewis could fly from Bahrain to Abu Dhabi is tonight, which means that he could theoretically be in the car tomorrow if he's passed his negative COVID tests and is feeling up to it. And Toto said in a week, Lewis is feeling a lot better. The fact that he said he's feeling, substantially better suggests that he'd been feeling substantially not good. And
yes,
as we understood it, he only had mild symptoms. So to learn that he had such symptoms that required Toto to say he's feeling considerably better, I think shows that, Lewis has been struggling from it, and getting over it in a week is no easy feat.
No, well, as you would know.
Yeah.
Living proof here.
I'm not as fit and healthy as a 7-time world champion, though. And, we wish Lewis well, obviously, and want to see him fit and healthy. I don't think Jack would like him to rush himself back, because he will want the seat, and I think George wants a second chance up there at Mercedes. But Lewis will want to get back in that car ASAP, finish off his championship season, back in his car and back to winning ways. But I hope, for his own health and safety, that he doesn't rush it back if he's not feeling 100%.
Yeah, I think for Jack, he had a good first weekend, and now he just wanted to build on it this weekend.
Totally.
He spent the last couple of days talking to the engineers, kind of trying to learn from what happened at that weekend so he could apply it and take a step forward. So I feel like this would have been the weekend, if it is indeed, that we could really see the real Jack Aitken and really give him a fair chance. But, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We still haven't had that negative result yet, so let's just wait and see.
And also, it was Jack's first time in a Formula 1 car in race conditions. He's been running 18-inch rims all year in Formula 2, so trying to get on top of very, very different tyres was really tough for him as well. Thought he did a standout job, as did Pietro Fittipaldi. Unlike Jack, is confirmed for this weekend, obviously in place of Romain, who we knew last time we did this that he wasn't going to be in Abu Dhabi. And Pietro, I thought, acquitted himself very well. Yeah, exactly. Similarly, I think he was very consistent throughout the weekend. Gunther was very happy with the job that he did after parachuting him in. I think he'll definitely benefit from knowing earlier on that he's definitely going to be in the car this weekend. I think just from a mental side of things, from that mindset, he can kind of get into it and hit the ground running coming into this weekend. And like we were saying for Jack, hopefully he can kick on and really make a step up in his second opportunity. I think this is the first real test for Pietro. Personally. Yeah, I agree. It was lovely talking to him today. He said that the moment that he realised he was a Formula 1 driver was when he was on the grid, and he went for the anthem. He was like, oh my God, there's Sebastian Vettel and there's Daniel Ricciardo and I'm an F1 driver, this is insane. And it was all a bit much for him, but then he really settled in, and this is a track though that he knows. He's tested here before, so could be a slightly easier weekend for him. Kevin Magnussen, his teammate, will not be taking part in FP1, and that is because JP over there, that young man will be. Mick Schumacher will be in the car for FP1, Pietro Fittipaldi alongside him. Really looking forward to seeing Mick in Formula 1 next year, getting his taste of it this weekend as well. Yeah, I remember talking to him in Germany after the FP1 he should have done, and he was really, really disappointed, obviously, because we did a massive build-up to him driving the Alfa Romeo. Then it didn't happen because of fog. So it's great that he's going to have an opportunity this weekend. Then he'll have the Abu Dhabi post-test, and then hopefully that will help him kick on for his full debut next year. Yeah, and the lady there who you'll see a lot of, that's Sabine Kem. You may recognise her from Michael's big career, because she looked after Michael in his career and has been managing Mick as well. There's a lovely full circle element there of the Schumacher family and their trusted circle. I did a track walk with him on, when was it?
Wednesday.
Tuesday? Wednesday, thanks mate. He's very mindful, very insightful, lovely guy, really lovely guy.
Yeah, he's really got his head screwed on, I think. In the second year in F2, he's really grown as a driver, and you can just see in the way that he deals with the media, from when I talked to him in Bahrain last year to when I talked to him this year, it's a world away. He's so much more confident, he's so much more expressive, and I do think he's more ready this year than he is, for Formula 1, for that step up.
Formula 2 champion, and a young man worthy of his place in Formula 1, deserving of his shot, and an all-round decent, morally guided human. I really like him a lot. On to Alfa Romeo. I think Giovinazzi's doing brilliantly. He was top 10 on power rankings this week. I think, justifiably, he's been out-punching Kimi, and I think he's having a really solid end to the year.
So on the power rankings, it's about whether you can make the most out of your package, not necessarily the result that you get. And I do think that while the Alfa Romeo perhaps isn't performing as strongly as it has done earlier in the year, he's getting the most out of what he's got. And I think that that's the best that he can do, especially ever since he's been renewed. I think that he's had a newfound confidence, and hopefully that they can provide him with a car next year and then go challenging for points. I remember Kimi saying earlier, they're just slow, and that's the fact of the matter, is that car is slow, and there's not a great deal you can do about that.
No, absolutely not. I'll tell you a car that isn't slow. It's the pink car. All of the guys were out last night with Checo having one final meal before the season's over. Checo told me they are saving the tequila for Sunday night, though. That's why the boys all look as fresh as they do today, because Checo's dinner parties tend to go a little bit awry. No, they're holding that back for Sunday night. What a result for them. Let's talk about them while we're down here at the team. It's no less than they've deserved. They've had a brilliant season. Checo's in the form of his life. That win was, from last to first, astonishing, but no less than we'd expect from him.
No, it was incredible. That's kind of the Checo that we've become accustomed to. It just hasn't worked out, or it's been for maybe a lower podium or a lower point scoring position. This is the Checo we've come to used to, and that's why it's so sad that at the moment he hasn't got a seat on the grid next year. And we've done an extended talk that you can see elsewhere on that. But I just hope that he has a really strong weekend, and I think that's what he's focusing on, like kind of leaving at least this team on a high, and then we'll see what the future holds for him.
Yeah, I did a really nice interview with him today, which will come out later, in which he says, you know what, even if I don't get a seat, so long as the team goes on and does well next year, and I want to see them winning races, I want to see them doing well. It's almost like the Checo that turned up at that team 7 years ago was still young, inexperienced, cocksure, but quite selfish, as you are as a racing driver. And British as a young racing driver, he leaves mature, he leaves selfless, thinking about the team, what's important for them, the fact that, you know, as he said, the only thing that's important for him is that they've all still got jobs, that team still exists, and is now going to go on and potentially fight for wins and world championships with the backing of Lawrence Stroll and the branding of Aston Martin, and that's the most important thing for him, which I just thought was such a big thing for a racing driver who we know to be usually quite selfish, self-absorbed people. I just thought it was a really selfless comment.
We've seen him, like you said, grow at that team. It's like him going through school, college and university and coming out as an adult. And I'm not saying he wasn't an adult to start with.
I know what you mean.
You know, that kind of growth. What really impressed me today when he talked about his last time at the team is how he went and thanked everyone. He could have, you know, that team's let him go. He could be quite bitter towards them, but he's not. And it's just very classy in the way that he was thanking Lawrence Stroll for, you know, giving him the opportunity to win his first race.
And also he's thanking Lawrence Stroll for giving all of his mates and all of his boys and his family a future and a job, and that means more to him, and that kind of makes your heart break even more. Another guy who it looks like this is going to be his last weekend and probably doesn't deserve to be is Danny Kvyat, who again had that brilliant race in Sakir and showed just what a talent we might lose at the end of this year. Looks like Yuki Tsunoda will be in the seat, who is no average peddler himself. He's a quick kid, and I really can't wait to see what Yuki can do. Young driver test next week for him as well. But you know, Danny, form of his life as well.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't for Yuki coming through and be so backed by Honda and the Red Bull family, I think they would keep Danny, because
I agree.
I would say the last 3 or 4, maybe even 5 races, he's driven better than I think I've seen him in the time that I've covered him. And I think he is disappointed now that he won't get the opportunity to kick on from that. He's talking already about 2022, and his manager Nicholas Todd kind of making sure that they have something in place for next year, maybe a supporting role, but then coming back racing. He wouldn't be doing that if he didn't feel like he was still quick.
It's the interesting thing, isn't it? Both he and Checo aren't talking about 21. They're talking about 22. They're talking about the possibilities that exist further down the line and what could be coming their way from a race seat potential perspective. Then it's fascinating. Renault, we've got to talk about them because they have created a bit of controversy with their selection for the young driver test. Fernando Alonso at 39 has been judged to be a sufficiently young enough driver to take part in the young driver test, which makes me at 39 feel fantastic about that. Thank you, Fernando and the FIA. Officially young. Drivers slightly younger in real terms than that, dubbed to be too old. I believe you are old. I'm now young. Welcome to Formula One in 2020.
It's mad, and when Sebastian was asked about this today, he couldn't quite compute it. He doesn't understand why Fernando, who's older than him, can drive, but he can't.
And Carlos can't.
It doesn't seem fair. No, Ricciardo can't obviously have a go at the McLaren as well. It doesn't seem fair that Fernando does, but the rule is, if you haven't driven in the 2020 season, that's the new thing, then fine, you can have a go in the car. So I don't know. I'm disappointed for them. I'm disappointed for all of them because there's only 3 days of testing next year. Which means Daniel's only going to get 1.5 days in the car. Same for Carlos as well.
Well, they're all only going to get 1.5 days in next year's car. No, is half a day in one of this year's cars going to make that much difference for Fernando?
I think what he'll get out of that test is going to be huge. He hasn't driven, only for Fernando specifically, because he hasn't driven these cars. Maybe less so for these guys, but for Fernando, he's done so much running in the 2018 car that I'm not sure that I'm sure that the test is going to help him.
Interesting. On to McLaren and the ending of the friendship that we all love. between that guy.
I know.
Right there.
That's what he's going to be. That's going to be what he's looking like when he's gone. He's
because he's not got his mask on. That's why.
I'm going running.
Ah.
That's the only moment of the weekend
when you're allowed not to wear your
Is that so you can eat a burger?
You're not allowed to go for another 15 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're getting in the...
You're getting in the zone. Got to limber up. We have very limited time we're allowed to run on the track, 8 p.m. till 9:30, which means we need to wrap this thing up in 15 minutes.
So that we can go back running?
So we can go running.
Did you hear that? We've heard that here first. He's going running.
I left my kit at the hotel. But
convenient.
Right there. That's fine. McLaren want a good end to this season. They're 10 points behind Racing Point in the championship. They don't think they've got a realistic shot at it. But as we've seen over the last 3 weekends, all it takes is a mega result like Racing Point had last weekend, or Bahrain 1 looking at a good result, sudden a double easy for me to say, double DNF.
Yep.
McLaren P4, P5, boom, and it flips.
Exactly.
All it's going to take is one of those races and it flips again.
It's definitely not over, and we've seen these guys time and time again that they are operationally brilliant. I'm going to be really sad that those guys aren't going to be together. They've been so entertaining. You flagged up a video that they did, the no strings attached Muppets thing.
Yes, don't miss that. It's on McLaren's YouTube channel. It's beautiful, them looking back over their 2 years as teammates, and they've gone to the trouble of getting these Muppets made of them. Carlos has referred to Lando as his Muppet mate for the duration of it. It's going to be really sad to see the end of that relationship. It's been lovely.
And I think that relationship has spurred them on to be better drivers on track as well, and I think that's a large part of why they've both been so successful there. And so I think it will be we talked about emotional goodbyes right at the top of the show. I think that's going to be one of the most emotional ones. I think there might be some tears.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Interesting though to think of what the paddock might be like next year when everyone's not constrained to their bubbles. We think about it at the moment, they're not going to see each other next year because this year everyone's been condensed in their bubble. Maybe if there aren't bubbles next year, maybe with vaccines and who knows what 2021 will look like, but you never know, they might be able to go out for dinner together. We might be able to go out for dinner with other people other than just you and me.
Yeah,
you
sounds
never
good.
know. It does, sounds great, doesn't it?
Being normal.
I know, you're sick of me. I wouldn't blame you.
Not yet, anyway. Not yet.
I mean, it's 3 days.
Red Bull.
Yeah, that's it. And the question mark that refuses to be answered.
We've been talking about this for how many races now? Christian keeps mentioning Checo to keep that option open. Alex was saying today in the press conference that he's got one more race. They've always said let's wait until the end of the season, so he has got one more race. I genuinely don't think we're probably going to find out until after Abu Dhabi. I still think Alex, I don't know, I've been saying this, I'm going to say bad if it doesn't come out, but I think they're probably still going to stick with him, but we'll see.
So after what you've been saying in weekend warm-up, and we talked about this in the Checo video earlier, I started to come around to your way of thinking, particularly because I spoke to Christian last weekend, and he said, because of course there's Nico Hülkenberg or Sergio, and I thought, Nico said that you've not been in contact with him for months, so actually are you just using the threat of other drivers as a stick? And I put that to Christian, and his response was to say, well, it's Alex's seat to lose. And I'm like, that's not really an answer, that's a Christian politics answer, that's an MP's answer. And I was like, maybe Lawrence is actually on it. Maybe, I'm not saying you're never
which must have pained him to say.
It must pain, yeah. But no, maybe it is Alex's seat. Maybe Sergio was never in consideration. And I thought, well, that's hectic. But then Sunday night, and not just because of the win, but talking to some heavyweight people in the paddock, and they're like, no, he has got a seat. He's going to be all right. He's got a seat. It's all lined up and it's all fine.
And Helmut texts Checo after the win to say congratulations. So, I mean, I know it's just
Helmut doesn't give platitudes out on a whim.
No, he doesn't. No, you're right, he doesn't. So that's why I think it's not all over yet, but I still do believe that
it is all over yet. Ferrari, you chatted to Seb, I chatted to Charles today. Long form interviews for the I don't know where they're going, but they're going somewhere.
They go across the channels.
Everywhere. What did you make, Seb?
He was in super reflective mood. I think today he probably did a lot of media.
I think he was annoyed with the amount of media
he did a lot because a lot of people want to talk to him because this is the end of an era. 6 years at Ferrari, hasn't, as he admitted, worked out as he had expected, but he can still see that he's not done yet. He's excited about the opportunity that Aston Martin offers him, and I think that's why he's not leaving sad, he's not leaving unhappy. He's made such good friends at Ferrari, and I think that's the thing that he's going to remember the most. He was talking about the people and also the fans. I know we've not seen them this year, but the Tifosi, I think that's their support to him has meant a lot to him. So when he was growing up wanting to be a Ferrari driver when he was younger, the support that he got as a Ferrari driver kind of ticked the box of what he aspired it to be. So I thought it was very sweet, really.
That's lovely. Charles was in a similarly reflective mood about what they've learned this year, going through the difficulties of this season, what it's taught them, what it's taught him, how he feels ready to now take this team on as team leader. Matthias saying this week that he believed that Charles would make a great team leader. Of course, Matthias not here this weekend. He's ill. We don't believe it's COVID-19, but he only came to Bahrain 2 so that he would pass the COVID protocols in order to come here. Now felt ill, so flew home. Actually, they had a better Bahrain 1 when he wasn't there. Actually, the last two races that they had when he wasn't there.
Yeah, because he wasn't in Turkey. I mean, he's going to hope that's not the case. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to.
Yeah, otherwise it's going to be a 2021 at home for Matthias.
Exactly. But actually, operationally, the team just showed that it was feasible for him not to be on the ground and for them to still work. So wish him all the best.
Laurent Mekies in charge of things and doing a great job, which just leaves us with Mercedes. And the biggest question for this weekend, which is, will Lewis Hamilton race? Is he here? Is he fit? Is he ready to jump into that car? Will George be in the Mercedes? Will George be down there? And can Valtteri beat either of his teammates, depending on who it is? And I don't mean that, and I put that to Valtteri today. I said, who would you rather be in the car? Would you rather it was George, so you can make up for Bahrain 2? Or would you rather it was Lewis, so you can put a full stop on the season? Because he's going to want to be either one of them if he's to leave this season with any shred of relief, maybe, that it's not quite as bad as it looks.
He really wants to win this race. For those very reasons. He doesn't want to go into the winter having been on such a bad run of results. He was saying today he can't remember the last time he was on the podium, and for a Mercedes driver to be talking like that shows how difficult it has been for him. And he did talk a little bit about how mentally challenging it is to fight Lewis, just like Nico used to talk about. That's why he retired, of course, because it wore him out. And so the toll has clearly taken it on Valtteri. But, you know, he had really strong performances at the start of the year. If he get bookend the year with a strong performance here, that will help him going into the winter. Let's see. I don't know.
Talking about that difficulty, I was talking to Alex Albon about that today, and the difficulty coming into the weekend, the constant pressure from the press. Is he out of the seat? Is he out of the seat? Does he deserve to be here? And he said, yeah, he does find it hard, and actually it's kind of stopped him from enjoying what he's wanted his whole life to be, which is being an F1 driver. That he found it really hard. And actually both Kevin and Kimi today said it's refreshing to see people reflecting on Roman's career and remembering his pace rather than the mistakes that came to really encompass what his career was. I wrote a piece for F1.com on a similar line. It's all too easy to get caught up in the minutiae and the little stories, and to forget that these guys are still the 20 greatest drivers in the world who have this incredible skill set, to not just put them down all the time. And it's, you know, they're just doing what they love and doing things that we would love to be able to do.
Yeah, it's very sweet of Kevin the way he spoke about Roman today. And particularly, you talked about, you know, he's one of the fastest, he said, over one lap. And I think often, like you said, those crashes smear our view or our memory of what a driver can do. And Kimi himself, you know, don't often get Kimi talking in detail about other drivers, but today he was very complimentary, and he wouldn't say that unless he genuinely believed it. And I think it's comments like that which I hope will really help Roman when he kind of looks back maybe in a couple of months of what a difficult time this will be, that he has got the respect of his fellow drivers.
It was really nice. Roman and Kevin did a helmet swap before Roman went home, and I just saw Kevin walking into the Haas garage, sort of cuddling Roman's helmet as he went in with him, which was really, I just thought that was really cute. It was really sweet, just sort of carrying Roman with him into the garage. And he said, I never realised how much I loved him, which is mad for teammates to be saying about it, but lovely, really lovely stuff. Anyway, it's been a bit of an emotional weekend warm-up, hasn't it? No information on anything that teams have brought for their cars or competitive order or anything like that. I think it's just end of a long emotional year, and there's a lot of emotional, heartfelt stories going into this weekend, really.
Yeah, and I think the next 2-3 days are going to be just as emotional. We might even have to just camp out here, wait and see whether Lewis comes in or not. Well, should we do that?
It's on you, mate. I'm looking forward to the lie-in. There's no support races, so it's not going to wake us up in the little hotel over there. It's been a real joy, mate. I've loved doing these this year. It's been so great.
It's been great. No, it's really, really enjoyable. It's been quite fun.
Thanks for putting up with me.
Thanks for putting up with me.
You're very welcome. Should we make a prediction?
Yes, because so
come
let's
on.
talk about this. So Will
Now, Perez last week.
called Checo. He claims.
I mean, you can go back and watch it. But then I forgot by the end that I'd already predicted Checo to win and put him second or third. I can't remember. Either way, doesn't matter. As I keep telling you, my predictions are meant in jest until they happen, and then I meant them.
Covered. I'm
Covered all
going to go
bases.
for a Max victory. There you go.
You're going to go for a Max victory. I'm going to go for a George Russell victory.
Okay. That would be even more incredible if he's back in a Williams.
Wouldn't it just? Wouldn't it just? Oh, who knows? I think this season's probably got one last sting in the tail. Been great, mate. Thanks so much. Folks, thank you for watching. Thank you also for your lovely positive comments. They always say don't read the comments. We do. We have, even though we shouldn't. And we thank you for that. Thank you for your positive feedback. It's been lovely to read and to see you all coming along with us for the ride in 2020. It's been a bumpy one, but it's been a fun one. So, thanks for coming along and thanks for being a part of this. And hopefully we'll be back whenever the first Australia, isn't it?
Australia.
In 2021. For now, though, from him and me, from this place.
See you later.